That is Jennifer Lopez singing her hit song, Jenny from the Block, at last year's Global Citizen Live event right here in New York City. The international advocacy group has helped raise more than $62 billion with a B for social change since it was founded more than a decade ago. Now, their goal is to end extreme poverty by 2030. This week, Global Citizen teamed up with hundreds of celebrities, activists, and artists, including Bill Nye, the Science Guy, and Dakota Johnson, to host a two-day summit. I was asked to moderate one of the panels, and I said yes. It was on gender equality with Gloria Steinem. Listen to that panel. Pharrell Williams and Arooj Aftab, a Grammy-winning artist from Pakistan originally. Only on CBS Mornings, Global Citizen CEO and co-founder Hugh Evans joins us now to bring us up to date. Good to see you, Hugh Evans.
Great
Always good to see
Gayle.
you.
Thank you for having me.
I can remember when you first proposed this 10 years ago, and it just seemed so pie in the sky. You look like you were 12 years old at the time. Who is this guy?
Still does a little bit.
Yeah, he actually does. Who is this guy? But your enthusiasm and your commitment and passion was so infectious. Are you still on track to meet your goal of 2030, ending extreme poverty?
So I think there's good news and there's bad news in the story of the eradication of extreme poverty. The good news is that in the last 30 years, the proportion of people living in extreme poverty has plummeted from 52% of the world's population in 1981 down to less than 12% of the world's population today. At the same time, well, the world's gross income has quadrupled, so we can afford to eradicate extreme poverty. The bad news is that because of COVID-19, 100 million people have been pushed into extreme poverty, so the urgency of now is more important than ever.
So what were the engines that helped people's situation from 81 to just recently, and can you fire them again to help this 100 million people who have fallen back into poverty?
You absolutely can. So you need to get access to healthcare, and we saw that during COVID-19, but it's not just one disease, it's malaria, tuberculosis, all of the communicable diseases need to be addressed. Secondly, we need to empower girls and women, because while there's no silver bullet for the eradication of extreme poverty, the empowerment of girls and women is the closest you're ever going to get, because women are far more likely to invest back into their communities, and that's the power of that. And then thirdly, we need to focus on education, because it's also one of the closest tools that we have to enable people to lift themselves out of poverty.
Global Citizen published a strong letter demanding these things from our world leaders and businesses. How would you hope that this letter reaches them, but then also creates change?
And that they do something.
Right,
yeah, you
right.
can write a letter.
One thing to read it,
yeah,
but how is this going to cause action?
Absolutely. Well, this year, as the G7 meets and also the G20 meets later this year in Bali, we know that we need leaders to step up on both the eradication of extreme poverty and on climate change. Right now, one simple thing that can happen is the US Congress has blocked what's called special drawing rights. These are a financial instrument to enable the world's poorest nations to have financial cash flow. We know that during the pandemic, $17 trillion was released for the wealthy nations like our own. We need the poorest nations to have access to capital. And yesterday, Mia Mottley at our Global Citizen Now Summit, the Prime Minister of Barbados, stood with Prime Minister Trudeau of Canada, and they both called for the US Congress to pass this measure. It should be a bipartisan measure.
You know, the thing is, Hugh, when people hear extreme poverty, no offense, their eyes tend to glaze over for a lot of people.
Right.
But that has never been the case for you. Why do you feel so passionate about this all this time? I'm fascinated by how you work and the work you do, and now you're adding Ghana to the list of people that you're reaching out to.
Well, the reason why I'm so passionate is it's deeply personal for me. I lived in the Philippines and India when I was a kid, and I saw the worst forms of human suffering, and I'm still in touch with all the people that I lived there. And I've seen how their lives sometimes have improved, but due to COVID have been set back. Yeah. And that's why this year, for our 10th anniversary, we're taking the Global Citizen Festival, as you just said, to Ghana, West Africa. Wow. This year marks the 20th anniversary of the African Union and Ghana's 65th anniversary of independence from Britain. It's this historic moment to unite the world. Africa to America, Central Park to Black Star Square in Ghana, West Africa. We're going to bring the whole world together this September.
Incredible. I know. Hugh Evans is always, honest to God, trying to top himself with what he does.
It's incredible. And, you know, when you talk about that long-term history of success, the number of people lifted out of extreme poverty, I mean, it could be a headline in the papers every day. It's not, because we tend to focus on other things, but there is progress. It's important to remember.
There is progress, and we can all take action right now.
All right. Hugh Evans, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Love it.